My fellow Americans, today we gather to reflect on something profound yet fragile. The constitutional foundation that has sustained our republic for nearly 2.5 centuries. Our Constitution is not merely a document of rules and procedures. It is the embodiment of our highest aspirations as a people, a covenant between generations, promising that the light of democracy shall not dim. Consider for a moment the genius of its design. Our founders, having witnessed the corruption of absolute power, created a system of carefully balanced forces, not just branches of government checking each other, but layers of protection for individual rights against tyranny of both the majority and the powerful few. They understood that democracy requires more than just elections. It demands adherence to principles that transcend any single moment or movement. But history teaches us a sobering lesson. Constitutions are only as strong as our willingness to defend them. When we allow the rule of law to become negotiable, when we permit power to concentrate in the hands of those who view public service as a path to personal enrichment, we do not merely bend our constitutional guardrails, we break them. The dangers we face today are not new. Every generation has confronted those who would replace the careful deliberation of democracy with the swift certainty of autocracy. They come bearing promises of simple solutions to complex problems, offering the false comfort of strongman rule while slowly dismantling the very protections that prevent abuse of power. Look to nations where constitutions became mere pieces of paper, where courts became instruments of power rather than arbiters of justice, where legislators rubber stamped the whims of autocrats instead of representing their people. Their descent did not begin with dramatic upheaval, but with subtle erosion, the gradual acceptance of the unacceptable, the quiet normalization of the unconscionable. We must remember that oligarchs and would-be autocrats fear nothing more than a citizenry that understands its constitutional rights and responsibilities. They fear informed voters who cannot be swayed by propaganda. They fear independent courts that cannot be bought. They fear free press that cannot be silenced. Above all, they fear the power of a people united in defense of their constitutional democracy. This is why we must do more than merely praise our Constitution. We must protect it. Protection means engagement, voting in every election, serving on juries when called, staying informed through reliable sources, and holding our representatives accountable to their oaths of office. It means teaching our children not just the words of the Constitution, but the principles behind them and the responsibilities they entail. The strength of our democracy has never been in its perfection, but in its capacity for self-correction through constitutional means. Every major advance in American justice, from abolition to women's suffrage to civil rights, came through citizens working within constitutional frameworks to bend the arc of history towards justice. Today, as we face renewed challenges to our democratic institutions, let us remember that the Constitution's power lies not in its parchment, but in our dedication to its principles. When we uphold these principles, equality before the law, due process, freedom of speech and assembly, separation of powers, we do more than preserve a system of government. We affirm our belief that democracy, though sometimes messy and always demanding, remains humanity's best hope for building a just and prosperous society. The choice before us is clear. We can be passive observers as our constitutional protections are eroded by those who seek power for its own sake, or we can be active defenders of the democratic principles that have made our nation a beacon of hope for more than 2 centuries. Let us choose wisely. Let us choose democracy. Let us choose the Constitution. For in the end, the Constitution is more than laws and amendments. It is a promise we make to each other, to our children, and to generations yet unborn, that here in this land the people shall govern, justice shall prevail, and liberty shall endure. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.